Hey, what is up guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the top position 4s for 7.29. Funny enough, not a lot of position 4s really have a high win rate. However, what I would like to talk about is the situations in which I think these 5 heroes are particularly good and why they're particularly good. But alright, if you're excited for this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I make a lot of videos like this over on the gameleap website. For instance, the first hero on the list is Lina, and I have just made on the website a full Lina gameplay video. It's never going to come to YouTube, it just won't, so if you want to watch that and learn more in depth about how to play Lina, then you should go subscribe to the gameleap website. Alright, now talking about what I just talked about, the first hero on the list is Lina. So the main thing I'd like to note about Lina is that in the recent patch 7.29b, she received what I would argue is the biggest buffs of any hero by quite a large margin. So the first change she got was her agility gain was increased from 1.8 to 2.1. You can obviously see that this is trying to make her a better right clicker, so I do believe that mid Lina is fantastic. Even offlane Lina is quite good as well. And yeah, so that was buffed. Then Light Strike Array, which is her main spell when it comes to when it comes to playing in position 4, you should basically be casting Light Strike Array off cooldown. You know, that's one of the reasons why this hero has a low win rate. People are so afraid of missing it, or think they're gonna miss it, that they don't cast it, or they just don't understand the importance of just simply spamming this spell, right? Light Strike Array has been buffed hard now. The radius was increased, so it is much easier to hit, trust me. It's only a 25 radius increase, but the amount of times that is the distance you need to hit LSA is insane. It really is quite funny. Then the mana cost was also reduced at max level, which makes it a better skill to max, assuming you go 4-4-1 on support Lina. Now, what I would argue is one of the most important, if not the most important change for Lina, even though it might not seem like a support Lina buff, and I wouldn't say it really is, it's definitely more at core Lina, which is why I'm saying you can consider that as well, but Fiery Soul, the stack duration was increased from 10 to 12 seconds. So how the spell works is every time you cast a spell, you get more attack speed and more movement speed. Then, after 12 seconds, if you don't cast any more spells, you lose that attack speed and movement speed. But you can get up to 3 stacks, and every single time you cast a spell, you will refresh those 3 stacks. And they made it where you only have to cast a spell every 12 seconds instead of 10 seconds. And man, does it change the game. You don't have to just waste stuns willy-nilly and waste nukes willy-nilly nearly as much. It saves you a lot of mana, your nuke is less mana, and so you have a lot more mana to nuke out waves, do things like that, and they buffed your level 10 talent as well. Instead of a 2-second Dragon Slave cooldown, it is now 2.5, which it's gonna matter, right? That's gonna be the difference between securing a kill, pushing out waves a little bit faster. There's so much value in this talent. And another thing I'd like to say is it's much better for caster Lina, like when you do like a mixed Lina build, which you can even do in the position 4 role. I think it's fine. What I mean by this is you max out your Q, right, the Dragon Slave, you put 1 point in your W, okay, fine, and then you max out your E as well. It's better, right? It's better because you're not going to have maxed out stun, and so you're not going to be easily able to kill waves. However, with this talent, the 2.5 Dragon Slave cooldown, you push out waves much quicker, you know, without your stun. And so it's a huge amount of changes with Lina, and I think a lot of this meta is going to come down to the laning stage as well. At least it feels like it to me. I mean, there is some ideas right now where you don't necessarily have to crush your lane, but all in all, I'm a big fan. Briefly, let me just give a couple heroes I think it's good to pair Lina with in lane. Number 1 is Slaughter. This lane is a classic, just a very solid lane. I think you could pair it with a hero like Sven. You might be saying, wow, isn't that a safe laner? Yeah, but just switch up your lanes, right? You could just easily switch up your lanes. Let's say the Sven has, oh, I don't know, a Winter Wyvern in lane. You know, Winter Wyvern Sven, yeah, it's okay, but it's not nearly as good as Lina Sven, and so instead, you can just slap your Winter Wyvern into the off lane. Maybe it's a Timbersaw who doesn't really want the Lina nearly as much, and you optimize your laning stage. Next up on the list is Skywrath Mage. So this hero definitely has been doing better, and there's been a couple of changes to the hero. Number 1, the most important thing is Concussive Shot was buffed very hard. Concussive Shot is now a lower cooldown at level 1, and you notice that every single good Skywrath player takes Concussive Shot at level 1 now. It's a very valuable spell. It does a lot of damage, it slows for a long time, and really, it just dominates lanes. Now, there are some heroes that don't really care about it. For instance, a hero like Juggernaut can largely ignore Skywrath Mage in the laning stage, but let's say a hero like Phantom Assassin, if you have a Skywrath Centaur lane, and you reliably and consistently cast your nukes on the Phantom Assassin, she will eventually run out of HP. It's basically inevitable. Now, I will say that I think the general counters to Skywrath Mage in the lane is like heroes like Warlock and Abaddon who can simply out-sustain the Skywrath Mage. Also, heavy kill lanes that can immediately get on top of you, such as like Phantom Assassin Undying, can be a little bit difficult for Skywrath Mage as well. But as long as you can avoid these situations or at least play around them, you'll do alright. Now, in terms of item build, I'm very, very keen on getting an early Atos. You can also rush Veil. Veil is incredibly good on Skywrath right now, as they've recently buffed Bassi to give more mana to the wearer rather than the people around, so that really helps Skywrath deal with a bit of his mana problems. On top of that, it obviously gives you some all stats, that's wonderful, and amped magic damage. But, as I was saying, I really do believe that Atos is a key to this hero, because until you have Atos, you can't play alone. Now, in some games, you're going to have an Axe on your team or a Beastmaster that you can work well with, that you can run around with and make plays with, and that's great, and I really do believe that's such a valuable aspect of Skywrath in the current meta. You can have two heroes go completely alone, you can smoke gank with two heroes, and quickly get kills, on a lot of the mobile cores that we're seeing. Heroes like Riki, Puck, Void Spirits, Juggernauts, any of these heroes that are, just naturally hard to kill, Skywrath has no problem blowing up with 1 point in his silence and an ultimate. But yeah, getting back to my point about the Atos, here's the build I recommend you go. You can start with some random stat items like a Mantle, a Clarity, Tangos, maybe 2 branches, just whatever stats and mumbo jumbo. Just look up a pro build, you'll do fine. After that though, personally, I'm the biggest fan of just buying crowns and immediately going towards that Atos. Now sure, this isn't going to make your laning stage the best. What I mean by this is crowns are not the best early game item you can buy. The cost per gold is simply not as good as something like a wand. Yeah, I would argue like a Bassi. It's not as good, but as I said, that Atos timing, it lets you solo kill cores. And that's what you should go for, especially in your pubs where you want to scale. A couple of big pickoffs, and all of a sudden, you're gonna be, middle of the net worth as the position 4. Next up on the list, we have Dark Willow. Now, the biggest thing that was changed about the hero is the shard. I will say that Willow shard is definitely somewhat insane right now. It lowers the time it takes for the E to pop off. Now, I said in my patch video, I thought this would grief the Yule's combo. I actually still don't know if that's the case or not, but what I will say is I've seen the shard a couple times, and how quickly it pops is nuts. Dark Willow's stun at max level, keep this in mind, is a 3.25 second stun. 3.25 second stun on a 12-second cooldown. And when you buy the shard, not only does it make it pop faster, it also puts brambles around the person, which are impossible to avoid unless you have blink or something like that. And so you get stuck in a bramble after as well. You literally cannot move for like 5 seconds. It is actually that good, and it's on a 12-second cooldown. By the way, if I didn't mention already, at level 10, if you really want to go sicko mode, you can take a 0.6 second Cursed Crown stun duration talent, which means their Cursed Crown stun is a 3.85 second stun, which is literally just as long as solo black holing someone. And so yeah, obviously I'm a big fan of this shard and the way that this hero scales. It has a lot of solo kill potential like Skywrath Mage. It's a very good laning stage with a lot of the popular offlaners right now, such as the Centaurs, Dragonite, Magnus, Mars, even Pudge. Yeah, it's great with all these heroes. Now let's switch it up and get into a melee 4 or 2 melee 4s. The first one is Bounty Hunter. So I've been harping on this hero for a while now. I just believe that this shard in pubs is the best thing that exists. It's not as good as Gush or Acid Spray, but my god, it is so easy to have so much impact in pubs. Why? Alright, let's talk about it. Because in pubs, people will always go on the first thing they see. I've recently just made an Enchantress guide for the website, and I basically show you how through dying and baiting, you can solo carry games as a 5. I'm not kidding. I literally have not lost a game in like the 5.5k bracket over 3 games as Ench by killing myself with tank items. Because people don't have the awareness. I'm just being real with you guys. They don't have the awareness or the target priority to choose the right person. They just go on the first person they see. It makes sense, right? Just kill the person who's closest to you. You don't have to go out of position, you don't have to overcommit, but for Enchantress, you do. And going back to the point of Bounty Hunter, when he has this shard, which makes him take 35% less damage and stun out of invis, he does take forever to kill, and he does make you overcommit. And then all you need to do is buy a Vanguard, buy a Hood, and I literally had to play against it in a game, and I could not kill him. I could not kill him. I wasted all my time on hitting this guy in the fight, and we lost. Like, literally, I mean, because I also couldn't really ignore him. Like, to be real, even if I tried to ignore him in the fights, he would just stun me, and then Janata, and then Shuriken, and it really is that annoying. And we kept overcommitting on this guy every fight. That's all I'm trying to say. He had a Hood, a Vanguard. I think he went Spear Vessel, Solar Crest. He ended up getting really farmed. The guy was out of control anyway, which obviously helped him out. But the reality is, even in the early game, it's a great pub hero. Just scout out fights, run around with tank items. You do the same thing the whole game. It just, in my opinion, it's just so effective. It really is just so strong. And finally, last but not on the least, is Pudge. I know it's crazy that I'm saying this, but I actually think Pudge might be pretty good. Probably has a lot of room to grow, but it got armor, and most importantly, Meat Hook is 4 seconds less on cooldown, which matters a lot for the laning stage where basically you're just kind of looking to take attempts. You know, sometimes you can just close the gap with Rot, follow it up with a Meat Hook, with a stun. That's great. That works too. But a lot of the time, you're just kind of fishing for hooks, right? Trying to bring someone out of position so that your team can collapse on them. Now, on top of that, what I'll say about this version of Pudge is I'm still very, very anti-Aether Lens. I know people like going it. And one thing I will say positively about Aether Lens is that it does allow you to use the Aghanim Shard a little bit better. The Aghanim Shard basically causes you have to be melee range to eat someone. If you don't know what Pudge's Aghanim Shard does, it decreases his ultimate cooldown by 10 seconds, which is nuts in itself, but then you can eat a teammate, which puts them inside you, and then it also heals them. So essentially, it's just a really good save. And with Aether Lens, you don't have to completely overextend to do it, and that's the only benefit I see to the item, really. So I think maybe it's okay late game, but only for that reason. However, in the early game, you really do just want to be like a bounty hunter. Hit a hook, turn on Rot, and get the enemy team to go on you. I really do believe that that's the biggest advantage of Pudge right now. If you can hit hooks in the lane and you can hit hooks in the mid game, what's going to happen is that the enemy team is going to consistently commit on you. Why? Because that's the problem. That's always been the problem with Pudge, like quote unquote the problem. When you hook someone and dismember them, typically you just get jumped because you have to channel an ultimate, right? But if you buy tank items, the reason why that doesn't really matter is because then the enemy team goes on you. You're still doing a ton of damage with Rod, and you've bought time for your team. You created space, disabled the hero, and that is the insane impact of Pudge. The most importantly, I really do believe that his ability to hook people on runes and the ability to hook people consistently in the lane, if you can do that, sets up a ton of kills. By the way, don't be afraid to try lane at level 1 as well. Just get a quick kill before you actually head off to the lane. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while, and it just makes a lot of sense to me, where you can quickly get this first blood bottom. A lot of position 4s are doing this. I just think it works very well on Pudge because of how much damage Hook actually does to level 1. As long as you have, you know, some sort of stun slow in your lane as well, you'll basically always get a kill off of it. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace. And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below. And I'm out. Peace.